Let's see if we can cook Wagyu using a flamethrower. You know what? I'll admit it. Things have gotten out of hand. I've used a lot of Wagyu in a lot of ways. I'll never forget the time I seared Wagyu on a 500-degree salt rock. The time I made a Wagyu beef Wellington with a long and thick Wagyu Chateaubriand. We've also made a lot of different juicy burgers, crushing salt-based Wagyu burger in the process, and even butter-aged a massive hunk of Wagyu strip loin, straight from Japan. I also made a heaping Wagyu beef gyro, tasted a very rare 100-day bone-in dry-aged Wagyu, and have made multiple Wagyu beef briskets that have quite literally squirted. And I thought I'd done it all. I mean, Guga and I even cooked a whole Wagyu cow, but we forgot one part. It's this thing right here, the tongue. I know it looks like a high heel, but this is a Wagyu cow tongue. But there's just one problem. I have no idea how to cook this thing.
But I do.
This here is my friend Jack, and lucky for us, he is quite literally a grill master.
This is a Wagyu cow tongue. This is something special.
And I know it might sound weird, but when a cow costs the price of a nice Tesla, nothing goes to waste.
Cow tongue is an organ meat. It's not a muscle meat, so we're gonna smoke it low and slow. It gets that nice tender feel that we all love.
We're smoking over applewood, low and slow. We're smoking over applewood, low and slow. And we're smoking over applewood, low and slow.
And because this tongue is an organ meat, with the most common ones being things like liver, kidney, sweetbreads, and heart, we're gonna need his skills to make this thing taste good.
Time to throw it on the smoker, baby.
Absolutely, but before we do, I'm gonna ask those of you watching who aren't subscribers to go hit that button below. We are gaining on Gordon at an unprecedented speed, and he is starting to sweat.
Watch out, chef. We're gonna fire up the smoker to 250 degrees, fill it up with wood to get the smoke flavor. Once the tongue is prepped, ready to set right on and walk away.
We'll start by carefully removing this from the packaging, making sure not to cut into the actual meat.
Open this up.
It's just cut into the meat like immediately. What are you doing?
Now remove it from the bag. Yeah, how does that feel, Nick?
I'll be honest, this is one of the weirdest things that's ever come across my kitchen. I felt things like shark before, and this is the exact same leathery texture.
You. You say if you were 6'10", I'd beat the out of you.
People eat conventional cow tongue every single day. But will the fact that this is Wagyu make it taste any different? Is the tongue gonna have nice marbling?
No, like this. Good.
We're removing the bottom portion underneath the tongue so it's more of an even cook.
We're not really too sure what all that mystery meat down there is, but this here is starting to look like a real simple tongue. We'll start off the seasoning by drizzling this with just a little bit of olive oil, which we'll use as an adhesive for our seasoning.
Hitting it with the good flaky white Osmo. Nice big sprinkles all over the tongue sprink. So we're only gonna hit it with Osmo flaky white salt. We're gonna let the natural Wagyu flavors of this tongue shine through.
Perfect, it's time to cook.
Who's your daddy?
Now it's time to throw down that cow tongue at 250 Fahrenheit, and we'll cook this thing for about an hour per pound, but we'll keep checking on it throughout the process. While we wait a few hours for that thing to smoke, it's time for a few activities. We're about to be home, but is that a transformer? What the is that thing?
We got what we came for. It's time to head home.
We're a few hours into the cooking process. It's time to check on this thing. It's time to wrap up our tongue to get it a little bit more moist and tender. So I'll quickly flip it right upside down and lay it down here. Then drizzle over about a half cup of beef stock. Then wrap it up as tight as we possibly can to throw it back on the grill. Now we'll place it back on until it's an internal temperature of 200 Fahrenheit. We have finally reached an internal temp of 185 Fahrenheit, so it's time to take this off and cut it open.
The smell of this is unreal. Beautiful smoked cow tongue. Let's break this thing open.
We'll start by tearing off the thick portion of the tongue, which is just inedible. It's leathery and we can't eat it.
If your teeth can't break it down, what makes you think your stomach can?
If that's a joke, I love it. If not, I cannot wait to unpack that with you.
This part does look a little nasty because those right there are taste buds. Once we've finally trimmed off the rest of that thick outer layer, we have a nice, clean, and juicy tongue. And I will say with the amount of juice, this thing almost looks like a brisket. Guga, this doesn't look like we made a brisket. It looks like something else happened.
I agree.
I've wanted to cook one of these things forever, so thank you, Nick, so much for the opportunity.
Holy cow. See what I did there? I said holy cow.
Oh. And as a final step, we're gonna cut it into half-inch slices all across the tongue. The same way you would cut a nice filet mignon.
And as he cuts these slices, I must say, this sort of almost looks like a mini filet mignon. I think it's time to taste.
In all my years of barbecue, it's the first time making Wagyu cow tongue. Cheers to the house, let's go.
Naturally, because it's an organ meat, it's definitely chewy and has kind of a weird flavor that I can't really describe. But in a weird way, I actually feel like it's really well marbled the more you chew on it. There's a really nice balance of fat, and every bite that you take kind of gives some of that fattiness off.
It's all about flavor.
I'm always honest about my food, and I will say this was not one of my favorites I've ever made. With that said, big thanks to Jack for coming out and helping with cooking this thing, because I had no idea how.
Yeah, I think that's the last organ meat we make for a while.
You're at like an 8, right? I would go like maybe
six.
7. 6.9. Good?
Do you let him talk to you this way?